What is up? We're back at it, working on the Miata. Went to a drift event, had a few minor problems. Was over boosting, blowing holes in my intake couplers. Kind of crappy, but kind of figured out what might be the problem. Fixing some stuff, had a crack in the manifold. It doesn't look super pretty, but I'm doing some bracing, re-welding some stuff. I am going to be changing up the wastegate a little bit here. So right now I only have the wastegate wasting cylinder 1, which I thought it would be okay. You know, exhaust pressure goes out, but clearly not enough. Exhaust gases are coming out, not allowing anything to go back up the tube to the wastegate. So I'm only wasting exhaust gas off of one cylinder, not the rest of the engine. Therefore, exhaust gases off of 2, 3, and 4 are still pushing the turbo. No matter what spring you have in your wastegate, you're never going to waste enough of the exhaust gases, and you're just going to continue to build boost. So I'm going to be bridging across at least 3, 2, and to 1. So then the majority of everything is still wasting. I can't really put it across here to everything because there's not enough room. I can't go off of this side, off the driver's side here, to try and come up off of here. The oil line sits like right next to it, the oil return, and it's already so tight underneath the turbo here to where I can't get the turbo bolted down if I would go with a wastegate on driver's side over here. So it's going to be kind of a Frankenstein piece, but the whole thing so far has just been Frankenstein together to make it work. It ran good when I wasn't having the issues, but it was just way too much boost. I couldn't control any of the boost. It was just doing whatever it wanted, and in an engine, in a car build, you don't want that. You need to be in control of what's going on with the engine, or you could have catastrophic failure. So I also need to modify my downpipe a little bit. There's a little bit too much upward pressure coming this way. It's resting kind of on a trans mount right now, and when the engine torques towards the driver's side, it's pushing down on the downpipe, which is then pushing back up on the downpipe and putting forward twist on the manifold and extra stress, along with all the vibration through the exhaust. It cracked the top of my wastegate tube here, runner 1 and runner 2. So I got that re-welded, sealed up, and I got a couple of stainless rods coming over and supporting, and then I'm going to tie in another tube that's going to waste more gases. I hope. We'll see. If it doesn't work, I'm going to be going with a different manifold. There's a CX Racing manifold that's pretty decent, a top mount, and it actually turns your turbo just a little bit, clocks it out. Then that would give more room for an air cleaner and stuff, or a filter up here. But it would also then change my downpipe again. I would have to reposition, twist. I'd probably just cut it and turn the pipe and make it work. I can do that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, anyways, we'll get back into it. I started cutting some pieces up yesterday, wherever I did decide to put that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't do it. No, there it is. I started piecing together some stuff, getting it tacked around. Doesn't look super pretty, but it's gonna work, I hope. Fingers crossed it works. So basically what it's gonna be doing, and this is just kind of trying this out a little bit here. So it's gonna come across right here. I can still get a nut on here to bolt the manifold together, but I'll have to use a wrench, not a big deal. You're kind of just snugging it down and going a little bit extra, and I nut and bolt check stuff quite frequently, so it'll be okay. What I'm going to be doing here, weld it around, so I'm going to cut a hole down in this one. I'm going to cut a hole right here where this is going to actually get welded around to it, and then it's going to come up and connect onto the wastegate dump tube over here. Well, wastegate feed tube, whatever you want to call it. and then hopefully waste more gases. We'll see. Some of you are probably going to be like, what the heck? That's not right. And you're probably right. But that's what I got. So I'm going to make do with what I got. And if it doesn't work, I'll do something different. So I'll check back with you in just a little bit. I'm going to make a couple more cuts. And see, I'm just trying to line up the tube before I tack anything, before I weld anything, before I drill any holes in the manifold, because once it's drilled, there's no going back. So yeah, I'll check back in a minute. I also have a 4-inch flex pipe to put on the down pipe, because I didn't put a flex pipe on the down pipe. That was my mistake. So there's a ton of vibration through the whole exhaust system. That just causes problems down the road. So got this replacement, or not really replacement, got this new to put in there and hopefully solve a little bit of vibration problems. So yeah, got a lot to tackle today. So after shortening up the downpipe just a little bit, it was rubbing here before. As you can see, I just put a piece of rubber hose, clamped it down so it wouldn't vibrate so bad. But now I got like a 1/2 inch at least clearance. And I got clearance around the trans bell housing. I don't know if that's a good shot, probably not. Yeah, there's clearance everywhere in here now. So we shouldn't have any issues with it vibrating down here. So I'm back at it again, working on the Miata a little bit, test fitting the exhaust. And then I have to do some of the intake piping as well. I got my reducer here, 2 to a 2.5. I'm gonna mark that out. And this is gonna get welded directly onto the turbo here. And then I'm gonna build it down, remove this coupler, remove this coupler. So then those won't play a negative role in my loss of boost. We'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll go for it. So quite some time later, after modifying the downpipe, we'll bridge over for the wastegate, welding together the intake so I don't run into any more coupler issues with a V-band, and then getting a different air filter so it's not rubbing all over the place up here and it's back together. I just got to put the wideband O2 sensor back in and it should be good to go. Good morning, it's an early Saturday morning, kind of. Did a little bit of work on the car. I did a boost leak test the other day. Just picked a boost leak tester up off of Amazon. Does the trick. It works pretty cheap. Found out I had a lot of leaks throughout, like basically every coupler I had was leaking a little bit. I didn't have any beads, like a bead roll on most of my intake stuff. So I actually brought it to work, and bad lighting there. And I welded a bead around the ends, ground it smooth and cleaned it up. So then there's something for the clamps to grab onto. So we're gonna get this stuff put back together, had it all pulled out. I'm gonna put an 11-pound spring in and see how it works. I was only running 8-pound gate, and it works just fine, but I have an 11-pound spring I wanna try and see if it's compatible with this wastegate. We'll see. But then there was a lot of pinholes throughout all these welds that you couldn't even see with the naked eye. So I boost leak tested it, soapy watered it, and yeah, there was some leaks. So I brought it back to work to use the aluminum MIG welder and re-welded basically everything. Just turned the wire speed down and just remelted the existing weld. So it resealed around, over all those pinholes. So hopefully it holds, hopefully it does a little better. So I'm gonna get it all cleaned up and put it back in the car. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more drift content.